Well, it is fascinating, isn't it, Nigel? We do seem a long while away from when Boris Johnson said there were no parties and the guidance was followed. We seem a long way away from when Dominic Raab, the Deputy Prime Minister, suggested the police didn't retrospectively look into COVID breaking of the rules. In saying that, you were also a very long way away from the free-for-all atmosphere that we had here in Westminster in January when this story was all-consuming. At a time in which it was on the front pages almost every day. And as you well know, Nigel, one of the key things about politics is momentum. And certainly in January, there was a sense of momentum against the Prime Minister. That has been stopped in its tracks, but you're right, because of the war in Ukraine. His supporters would suggest it has also put what potentially happened inside Downing Street and indeed in other Whitehall departments into perspective. That when you look at some of the big political issues the country now faces, whether it is, of course, that war in Ukraine or the cost of living crisis that a few parties inside Downing Street doesn't seem like that big a deal. However, there are still some Conservative MPs who feel that the Prime Minister may well have misled Parliament, who also fear that he himself may well get a fixed penalty notice in the weeks to come. Is it acceptable that a Prime Minister, a leader, a man who imposed rules, the most stringent rules we've seen in this country ever, on millions of people, and then didn't abide by them himself, should remain in power? Well, clearly for the opposition, and as I say, for some Conservative MPs, that position wouldn't be tenable. So I think it's fair to say, yes, Boris Johnson has got a hell of a lot more headroom than he had back in January. Yes, things have moved on. The momentum against him has slowed down. However, to suggest that he's entirely out of the danger zone, I think is not clear. As I say, he could face a fixed penalty fine, and we are still... Yes, we are. We're still waiting for the full Sue Gray report, and that could still yet be incredibly damaging for the Prime Minister in and around the local elections, which are due to be held at the start.
So is the feeling, Darren, is the feeling that this announcement overnight of 20 fixed penalty notices, that this is just the start?
Yes, definitely. I think without a shadow of a doubt. The feeling here in Westminster is that this is simply the kind of lowest hanging fruit, if you like, that it is junior civil servants who faced these fines where there was a very obvious breach. Now, the Prime Minister's defence, we think, is that he is arguing that this place behind me, Downing Street, is not simply a place that is an office, but also his home, and so he might be able to get around the rules somehow that way. But no, the expectation is, because the police only sent out even more questionnaires in the last couple of weeks, that these investigations are still very much live and that we are expecting more penalty notices to come. So I think for many Conservative MPs, you're talking about their reaction there, Nigel, they are still holding back. They are still waiting to see what the police do, to see what is in Sue Gray's report. Many of them tonight are actually with the Prime Minister at a dinner and drinks event in which he's trying to rebuild that relationship. Some of them, it must be said, are staying away because they think it's ill-timed, given what's happened today, and not at all appropriate.